missed once. Watch it.
See, even when Eric's not here, he's there.
Yeah. Is he ever quite? See.
Oh, we're live. Tony, are we live? Thank you. Okay, welcome everybody to the August 22nd edition of the Downtown Advisory Board, of the City of Salem. I'm your host and chair, Josh Kay, and I'd like to start with a call to order. I'm present. Kirk Sund.
I'm here.
Alan Pollock.
Here.
Charles Weathers.
He.
Roy McManus. Not present. Ryan Fechtel.
Here.
Sarah No. Not present. Kiana Chase. Not present. Lori Miller. Not present. And Ernesto Toscovich. Not present. We do have a quorum though, so we will proceed. Proceeding to the approval of our agenda. I would ask for a motion.
Not a motion. I move, you moved, I second.
And unless there's any further discussion, all those in favor of the approval of our agenda say aye.
Aye.
Those not, nay. Motion carries. Moving forward to agenda item number 4, the approval of minutes from our June 27th meeting.
Charles moves to approve.
Okay. And if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of the approval of minutes from our June 27th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Those not, nay. Motion carries. Agenda item number 5, public comment. Is there anyone here from the public that wishes to address the board? There is not. Moving forward to agenda item number 6, action items. There are none. Got her. Moving forward to agenda item number 7, information reports. Number 1, missing historic feature grant update. Sherry.
So before I start talking, I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce you to Bill O'Donnell. He is our new finance manager. Michael, who's come the last couple of years and gone through the budget for us, Riverfront and Parking Fund. He's moving into a different position here in division, and he's only been here a couple weeks. And I'm so glad he's here and part of our team, and I wanted him to have an opportunity to come to an advisory board meeting to get a sense of who you are before he has to come in front of you with the budget.
Sorry.
I thought you said you liked him.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Appreciate it.
Where were you previously, Bill?
Spent 29 years in higher education and a few years in state government. So this is the next thing now, after higher ed and state government. City government.
All right. Well, welcome to the city of Salem.
Thank you.
Now I'm not. So I just wanted to circle back on a couple things now that the budget's approved, because they went through. So the first one is a missing historic feature grant. So I think when I presented that during the budget discussion, I had shared with you that in the first 5 or 6 years of when I was working here, I worked with historic staff to put together a missing architectural feature grant. It was specific to replacement of something that had been removed from a historic building over time. And they basically ran with that. We put the money behind it, but they did the solicitation, they vetted the projects that came in, and they selected the brick arch with color in it that you see when you're standing across the street from Reed Opera. That is the project that was selected through all of them that were submitted. And so, because we've had a lot of new construction, and we also have the historic district finding that blend as a board where we show continued support of new and preservation and the historic nature that we have. That's why I thought this year we would go and try to see what we could capture without putting this back in place again, but we upped the money just because it's been a long time and I have no idea what it would cost today, but we're gonna see. So it's open and if you have something that's missing from a historic building and you want to compete for the money, then this would be something that you would go through right now. So I'm again, we're not jurying, we're not a part of that, but I will be excited to see what projects are proposed. Back in the day, it was cornice replacement on where Temperance is and the former Cook Stationery and Wild Pear. All those buildings are like simpatico with each other. If you're up on the second floor, you can actually go from one building to the next building to the next building. And so they wanted to come back and get the cornice back that was originally there that tied those buildings together. Again, they weren't selected now. I don't know because there's 3 different property owners and I don't know if somebody would go back and try to do that again. And then the other one was putting a bell back on top of the Grand Lodge. So you know there's the theater and then there's the littler building there next to, that was the lodge and I guess there was a bell on that at some point. But again, the project that was selected was so questions? I mean, I think it's exciting that they're moving it forward. And I know that they put it out there right away, so we should get results of that.
So is there any issue from a funding standpoint that priority given or not given to projects that have already received money through our grant program, separate from how HLC, that's not part of their purview, but should there be, I don't know, the application part of it, whether or not that needs to be in there, so it's at least recognized or notified or something.
So I'm gonna ask you, do you see that they're not separate? Do you see it as,
They're separate,
okay,
but they're not separate. If you got 700,000 and then you get another 200,000.
No, okay, so we're not talking about separate, we're talking about the threshold that triggers both. Okay, I don't know of any historic building. I would have to watch that because some are at 600, so obviously if they got the full 200. I think it would be rare that a project would come in at 200. I think that we'll probably get more than one project out of it, but yes, that would be a consideration that if it was one that had already received money and then they wanted the full, we would have to let them know that they are at risk of triggering the full.
So there's 200, they did cap that out.
So
Oh, is that what they did? Oh, okay. Are you playing?
I see.
Well, can you tell us what it is that's missing?
Yeah, just a cornice, like you said.
Oh, you have a cornice, okay.
Yeah, so let's see where it once was, and we have this much of a corner of a photo, so assume it was the same whole way across.
What Bill, what?
Yeah, but on the left side, on the Myers building, the one that's traditional masonry.
Well, that certainly meets the intent of what we would like, to put something back. And that, you know, you're making that building beautiful, so.
Yeah, I think also the, delivery, I don't know. Storm. They want specific front. Other than that, I can't.
Yeah, yeah, they talked to me about that. I want that too. So if you have any questions, more questions? 295 commercial. So we're getting ready to.
I thought that I had to look up the address.
145.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Attention.
the main reason it's down here is that the subcommittee had come up with a list of things that that they wanted to take forward and share as part of what they wanted to see in the development capture in that project. And so Kristen had opportunities to meet with different counselors and stuff. And so what came out of that was it changed and reduced some of what you had had, which is what I wanted to share. So basically, the feedback was, we don't want to limit, we want to broaden it. So one of the things was for-profit developer, and they want it to not segregate, not close, not limit it. And then there was some confusion in regards to exactly what was the difference between relationship to the park, proximity to the water, all those that kind of touched, it said the same thing but in a different way. So what came back to me was just put something in there that put awareness to all sides contribute. It's not like one side should look good and another side shouldn't look good, because the back should look good and the side should look good and then the side facing the water. So it was like consideration to all sides and the view from all sides of the property. I think that was it, but because the subcommittee put the time and the effort into that, I wanted to make sure that I let you know that it didn't go one for one, like you had suggested. But we're all geared up, and I expect we'll be kicking out the solicitation in September.
Wow.
And we'll be off and running. So the next steps for you guys to be thinking about is, I will do better this time, because last time it was awkward when we went to select who was going to be on the evaluation committee, and we had people writing their names on paper, and then we had a tie, and
That was fun.
I just owned I could do better next time. That was awkward. That was awkward. Having the tie was even more awkward. But you need to be thinking about, is that something you're interested in doing? And of course, if you had a conflict, then you wouldn't be able to participate. We would probably want to, again, I think that's.
So maybe to make it not as awkward and make sure that all of it is there, there's maybe a prerequisite of attendance or something that is necessary to get your name in there. That's awkward.
Are we switching one awkward for another? I've thought a lot about this, because I have such a good board that has ties to a lot of the things that we do. I mean, I haven't had a chance to really become familiar with Ernesto, but he could be touching something on the finance side. We ended up with Sarah and Quandary and Rory last time, because they were the only ones that kind of felt that they might not have any interest in it. But at the same time, we do need to make sure that it's somebody who is tracking and is close to know what we're doing. And we'll make a commitment to look at the proposals and prepare to the evaluation committee. So anyway, if you're one that wouldn't have a conflict. Hi, Alan. You're one of three, maybe. Think about that. There isn't much that you do. It's just a matter of when the proposals come in, you are part of a committee that has the criteria laid out and a form, and you go through, and rank it, and then we come back and take a look at who ranks the highest. Okay,
I have a question. I got some feedback from some people that participated in the Block 50. How is this process going to differ from the Block 50 process, from the subcommittee standpoint, or the way that the city? Because I'm sure there was a lot of learnings from this side.
so my sense from, you're just talking holistically.
Yeah, I guess I asked 3 questions, but you can answer however you want. You always answer questions very thoroughly anyway, so.
Okay, so again, we had 2 parts to Block 50. We did a solicitation.
Right.
And we got proposals in. And we had a committee comprised of 2 members of GA and staff.
Right.
I think from what I heard from GA people that participated, they thought that they played a role continually, that they didn't know that they were like phase 1 of a multi-phase thing. And so we can make that clear. So if you're on it and you see who rises to the top, then you're curious, because that's what I felt. What's happening? Well, you won't be a part of the rest of it. You'll get the conclusion at the end. So we need to make sure that that's clear. So those that rose to the top, they then are given an opportunity to give a presentation, to come in, and then you're in front of counselors and staff. And based on that, one is selected. So it wasn't more complicated than that, so I don't know what, unless you want to be specific as to
No,
what.
it's okay. I won't be specific. It sounds like the process is set and that's what it will be. I guess maybe the second part of the question is, how will the process from a back end or a city administration standpoint differ, if at all, with the new site? Because obviously there's no dirt being turned, and we would love an update on what's happening across the street, but obviously it's a unique process in the acquisition of the city and the whole process to select who. And maybe my ignorance is just seeing things strictly from the private side. This is unique. I know it's a trend in the country, frankly, with municipalities taking on property to kind of expedite things, or at least that's the intent.
Well, it may seem new for us, but Hollywood Station, that was done this way. Where Broadway Commons is, that was done this way. So it's not necessarily something that hasn't been done by the city where they see an opportunity of light or who knows what, and they go in and try to stimulate economic redevelopment there or something there, because it hasn't happened through the regular processes. Okay, so 295 will go faster, in my opinion, because it's not as big, it's not complicated as much as Block 50, and I'll come back to Block 50. North Block 45 should go a lot quicker. Legally, for Block 50, and it's not the developer, the city, before I finish up the terms with the developer, they need to know what our expectations are. Because we don't want them to move forward and then them feel like they get the rug pulled out. And I can tell you, everybody says that same thing when they're working with cities. They start out, they think they know what they're doing, and then the city, somebody new comes in and they don't like that and they want this. Well, they went off and they're looking at investors and they have a project based on this, and now we want lower level of affordability, or we want this kind of stuff. So this developer is very savvy, and they wanna make sure that if they take off running, we're not gonna change anything. So to get that certainty, we're having to have meetings to float things.
Yeah.
Yeah, to float things by Block 50 subcommittee of counselors to make sure that we can give them what they need. So affordability was the first one because that is huge. And so, they did a complete analysis on, this is a level of incentives I would need if you want me to go from 20% affordability to 35% affordability to 40%, it's significant. And so again, they're looking at return on investments, it's all about the investors, that's a big project. And then it's a matter of 1 phase, 2 phases, do I have, it's complicated. And I feel bad because nobody would like it to move forward more than me.
Right.
But at the same time, we have some DEQ issues, and we have the tribal community that needs to come in and do more borings. So that has to be done too, because what was told of me by former board members was do as much as you can
Right.
to have it ready for redevelopment.
To avoid the delays.
Right.
Right.
Because at some point, when we turn it over, we don't want them to be having now to waste more time to get going. So what I will do is as soon as the key terms are all figured out, so we move forward with the disposition agreement, I'll have Jill come in from England and walk through with you, where then she's gonna feel more comfortable that what the number of units and what she's planning is feasible. That's as best I can do. I hope that answers your question. It is complicated. Legally, all of it. But I know you're wanting to hear more, but until they get some certainty, and I don't blame them, I would like that too, like, I can put terms together. That's where we're at.
Do those same 2 time consuming points you mentioned on block 50 existing, block 45, the DEQ?
My point is there any more to be done while this
No,
timeline is in
no,
process?
it's that's an excellent question, because that was like the first thing I had considering that I have one up here. It's my understanding that if that work has been done, so if they stay within the footprint, no. If they don't want that footprint that's already gone through that process, then yes.
Like the tax lot footprint.
No, where what the footprint of a building that had gone through the process to the point of getting permits.
So it'll, sorry.
It's almost guaranteed that it will be having this process.
Yeah, that's, where I was.
But the benefit would be if one has already gone through it, so that's certainly expedite, it's not like you're starting from scratch. There should be some value to those that review that and those that have given the okay for what's there. But again, I don't play that role, and it is.
That's famous.
I know, John got it,
Hey,
John
I
got it.
think all of us can speak from some experience, and I just recently got done, or still, I guess, going through it with the SHPO, with the State Historic Preservation Office and the Tribal Council, and because there's some things underground, and it's such a strict and rigorous process, as it should be, for when things of interest are found. And it's easy to say at the beginning of a process, we need to clear it up and make it as clean as possible, but even when all of that energy goes with that logical reasoning, of course, inevitably in any real estate development project, it's something that's gonna rear its ugly head. But we're looking forward to an update from Jill when you feel like it's appropriate, so that they have assurance. And I'm sure they don't mind the extra time either, as hopefully the rates environment improves. So, but we got down a rabbit hole, there's some tangents there, but all relevant. Do we have any other questions about North Block 45? Exciting. And then, when should we look for a process for asking to participate in the committee?
I would say it will probably be on September agenda, just so that that's in place.
Okay.
And we don't have to worry about it after the fact. We'll have it in place before proposals come out. Just because we don't want to have to get parents. So
Awesome. All right, agenda item number 7, information report number 3, art pedestal project update.
So, as you know, we have 2 different art pedestals. So the funding was approved to get the sculptures for those art pedestals. So I've gone and it's back a couple times. First, before the budget went through, to make sure that they were comfortable in taking on that responsibility. And then to let them know. We want them officially, and I gave them a memo and stuff. As far as I know, they haven't started anything, and then I just got an email from the staff for that commission. He's not gonna be on it anymore, so that means I haven't seen what staff person will be assigned to that, but that could be a cause of delay, because that new staff person will need to get up to speed. I have outreach to former liaisons because they got the cats. So somebody has some kind of process that they put the art commission through when they selected the jury for the cats that's in front of them. So, but I don't know what staff person did that, but I have outreach to try to figure out that I get tools to give the new person to move forward.
To remind me, was the money for new art or is it money for city art already?
That is such a good question. Can I use tax increment money to move a piece of art?
Sounds like.
I love it when you do that.
Sounds like me. I don't know.
I can buy it and I can install it,
Yeah, so
but moving it around,
no, you're installing art that is already procured.
not, no, new piece that comes with it. When I give them money, I say it's to buy the art and get it installed. No, this is new art. I mean, $75,000 to buy 2 pieces of art.
We need 500.
Well, the thing that's interesting is that West Salem has a location on Second Street. You know, they just finished their streetscape improvements.
Right.
And so they have an art pedestal location too. So I'm SPAC and I'm soliciting for sculptures. Having 3 potential locations for an artist to bid on or present something on, I would think that's pretty great. And maybe, again, I'm not on that commission, but I wish I was on that commission because it'd be exciting that I could actually have money to go out and have artists bring me in for sculpture.
We get that banana with duct tape.
Actually, I just went to go to Lake Oswego with snakes and the bears. It's the art is so, it's everywhere and it's so cute.
And for procurement, installation, and pilfering.
Any more questions about the art pedestal?
No, but I do have a request. It would be great to get an update at some point in the near future on a timeline and process for the parking conversations that are coming up.
Okay, so that is a good, the timing is good for that, because we're getting to the, we pretty much finalized with the consultant on kind of the financial messaging. And we're now to the point with the communication engagement strategy with that consultant. We're to the point where we're now looking at what the FAQs would be, a video, you know, what we will have for a toolbox of things to go out to message. So that should be this fall too. We're close.
We get a review of all those before they go out.
And it's interesting because if you look at the communication. It goes to council and you guys are first, the consultants will come in and you will, because you're the ones who need to market it. You need to be able to answer the questions. And again, when it comes to the why, we focus on the money here, but we've talked all along about that can't be the entire message. The message is equitable and fairness, performance-based system. It ties to the climate action. Yes, it will help us maintain it, but it's more than, because the timing is one now where it's gonna be iffy, because we've been planning this a long time, but now we have a challenge for the general fund. And so everything gets tainted with, oh, you're doing that for this, you're doing that for this. It's been going well back here. We opened up that pay station, and those little parking spaces out there. Nobody has had a problem walking over there, looking at their license plate, and paying for that parking. I just think that in itself is just helping. I have a little code for them to take a survey, because again, I'm interested in what your experience, how difficult was it to, follow the instructions. One person has made a complaint to one of the parking people about, this is just another way the city's grabbing money. But other than that.
Some people will
But, it makes sense that the users pay for that privilege of that space, not the businesses. So it's been fascinating to me because people were using that before it went live. It was live, but we didn't have it live, so it was working. So I was shocked because I had surveys before it went live.
How does it compare in size or stall count with the I think we call it municipal,
It's not as big.
not as big? Do you anticipate like the numbers to be commensurate?
Well, the community law, that's what, like 7,000 a month. As soon as, that was just a test. And you can walk right here and have free, or you can walk 2 steps and pay it. People they want that spot,
I mean,
so.
it would be nice to see a building in that parking lot, but maybe that's a
It's
down.
block 60.
It's too small.
That's what the air is for.
What's too small?
The community law, to put something there. I hate it when that one comes up. It's too small.
Is it in the historic district technically? Oh, well, that's complicated.
Not impossible, but it would be so narrow.
Sure.
And again, that's an area where the parking has always been a challenge with the theater and the courthouse.
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
and when the Grand was up and running big time, it has that ballroom for 400. Back in the day, it was always full. And then you had the theater, and they just have a little sliver of parking. And then Willamette Valley Bank, the Franklin Building has not very much parking. So
Okay, well, sounds like timing's good for getting
So
an
I will
update on
come
the
back
project then.
on, you're right there at the top of the list.
Great.
Because I need you to be able to say the truth and know the right thing, to know the facts versus what might go out there, because it's coming. You guys are critical to that.
So my guess is the chamber's gonna grab a hold of it. And
Chambers on the list to go
express to their,
to them too. I hope that that's not the case.
well, they're gonna message one way or another. And so having education to them too would be important.
Well, I think the difference is that we're not messaging you want it. It's already been determined we're doing it. So it's messaging the educational piece and the benefits of it, but we're not surveying on if you want it or not. So, that's good. So I have just a couple of other things since we're done. Sure.
Of course.
Okay, I just wanted to check in, you had wanted more frequent visits from Kathleen Swain on the amphitheater. So I have that on my list. I know some stuff didn't happen this summer because of shortfalls, but if you want me to bring her back, you want me to invite her in, please, okay? I also, when Stephanie was here to go over this, she didn't know what the sandwich board sign Zoom fee was. She emailed me, it's $138.
This fee for
What's that?
setting.
For the sandwich board sign.
What's that get you? The ability to have it there, and not get
Again,
it taken down. If it's in the right spot, in the right sense. For how long? 1 year.
I
yeah,
happen to
again,
have a permit, so if you want to ask.
I mean, they're supposed to be, you know, in front of your business. They're not supposed to be out if the business isn't open. But I can tell you, that's not the case.
get the
I
problem.
mean, I think Chira's is routinely down State Street and Commercial, so they end up all over the place. I don't know,
Sometimes you can't
almost moves
control,
them.
they get feet and they up and walk.
But if you only have it
Does
out
that-
during your business hours, they wouldn't get
I put my son on Aruba.
But anyway, I wanted you to know that fee, and I've asked her to let me know when she starts her outreach, you know, when she starts going block by block, so that I'm prepared if somebody outreaches to me. I was glad and was hoping she wouldn't do it when we had, Ironman and some of the bigger events. So she did not, but as soon as I get a schedule, I will let you know. I know that she was down on State Street, Josh, because somebody was complaining about sandwich board signs. I didn't ask her who, and I wanted to, have you share with Jennifer that the best thing for her to do about the pigeon poo that I'm very aware of there would be to report it to code.
I'll pass that along.
That would be the best thing to do, and then they'll investigate it.
What's the pigeon food code?
Pigeon 587.
They can only put one
It's-
per block.
It would be, health, cleanliness, sidewalk cleaning, because it's very concentrated in close proximity to
Pigeons
that.
have to get
Basically,
Let's see what else I have on here.
It's a really bad situation. Someone thinks it's okay to eat these pigeons consistently daily cat food.
Yeah, no, I know right where it is.
Oh, that's a weird irony. So you got two, you got somebody feeding them. You got cat bird.
And it's
Yeah,
like-
concentration birds.
It's almost cat cruel. I mean, I don't think pigeons are supposed to eat cat food, so.
We built a pigeon.
Well, I have outreach to that individual who feeds them on multiple occasions, and the other person that when he doesn't, does it. Because I worry about rodents because it's food. Cause it's, a lot of times it's Fruit Loops, not always. It's Fruit Loops, and when it gets wet, those things expand, and so it's just, and I have been told in no uncertain terms that they have a right to be there and have food. So, yeah. Okay. Is there any other topic other than the ones that you just talked about, ongoing interest in block 50 and paid parking?
there was a discussion, I don't remember how long ago it was, talking about finding people who have their storage unit in the front window of their space, and that was the project someone was working on, trying to figure out how to do that. Is that something that's moving, or?
No, I have the folder on it. Because again, Teresa, who was my project manager, one who came in to talk about, the Marion Park K facade, she was also, on point to work with me on looking to see if another community has any kind of codes that deal with, long-term vacant space. Teresa has moved over to Bill's team, and so I have no showing for Teresa. So, all projects, that they were working on, some, obviously Teresa can stay on some, but but I actually was more interested in that, so I spent more time than Teresa on the vacant space. And I have some data from other communities where if your space is vacant, you have to submit a plan, how you're going to address the vacancy. But it's definitely something that we need to do because we have some that have been vacant a very long period of time. Where they are, some are corner locations, key locations. So yeah, I haven't given up, but probably what I'll do is ask for a subcommittee. Once I get enough examples or enough kind of options for language, I'll go over them with the subcommittee and then hopefully we'll see what I see. It's one of those things that it would be coming from probably another, on, because I don't do codes. I mean, you know what I mean? It would be more likely code or something like that, or planning or something. It wouldn't be me, but because I want it, then I would have to be the one to kind of come up with the language and ask somebody else to move it forward.
There's a lot to that. I mean, it makes sense on the surface. It is pretty progressive policy. Makes sense on the surface though. And it's a shame that we got storefronts that are sitting there collecting dust.
Well, certainly code, if somebody has a guitar book or if somebody has different things, boom, you get cited and they leave your property and, you need to take care of it. We don't have anything, but we don't have anything that deals with, animal waste either. Gotcha. So there's no way to enforce that. So is there any other topics?
I mean, I don't know a formal one, but I was curious, there was a few meetings a while back. Some sort of business-led cleanup crew with cameras and they're gonna come for a grant and a grandiose plan on taking matters in their own. No one invites me, so I assume it's dead or.
I've never had anyone come to me with any plan or strategy for cameras. I was asked to give a list of properties that have used our strategic grant to put cameras in because we have paid for a lot of cameras. I was at that meeting where someone wanted to put together some type of initiative like that. And some of the people in the room, played the other side where, how far would you go with AI and having it identify people and watch people and stuff? So I think there's two sides to that, but I haven't heard anything. I haven't
Was
seen
it
anything.
cameras in a public space?
No, I think it's external looking for someone starting to do something we should, primarily after hours, because, not everybody is monitoring their properties.
Well, again, we have funds, and if they haven't used it for cameras, they can, as far as connecting them all and having them be, because that's kind of what I was getting, even though I didn't hear all the details, but that's what it felt like, that somehow they're all connected to each other and they're all watching them at the same time stuff. They didn't say that, but that was what I thought kind of from the presentation.
Sure.
But I haven't received anything.
So it sounds like there's gonna be a lot on the September agenda.
And you're gonna be gone.
Is it possible to move it? If others are able to move it too?
Okay. So,
Oh, that's good, Mexico.
well, that's a question for you to ask Josh and you guys vote on it. I'm just.
Well, I'm confirming that there's a lot on the agenda, I guess is the question.
There won't be, there won't be action items. I mean, I doubt if you're going to want to be on the evaluation committee. Okay, I don't know if I get Kathleen for September, so I don't know if we'll get in front of council to be able to have the parking consultant come in September. I would say higher probability October. Same with Jill, she would have come in September. I mean, basically we would say we're out with North Block 45. There would be no conclusion of it because there'll be at least 25 days people to respond. So is there something that I said that you don't want to miss in September? That you think I'm doing in September that,
The parking one, I wanna be there for that and update of block 50 from people.
yeah, that
But
won't be,
if those aren't-
yeah, I don't see that.
That's what
Okay. Is there anybody else not gonna be here? Is there anything else I can do for you or that you want me to bring in that you're interested in?
Only other thing I could think of is as it relates to downtown, the streetscape and where that stands.
Oh, I always wanted to upgrade that.
So it's like a setup.
I know.
No, I had to prepare it, so I thought just in case you guys want updates, I will have it. That's what I'm saying.
So are we on, which one are we on?
So we are on, right now, it's over by Cooper's. See, what's confusing is that they alternate two sides of the street. Because they don't wanna do one side of, they don't wanna do both sides at the same time because of the disruption of businesses. So they're always working on one, gearing up for the next one, like you can see the stop cuts out front. And they've been on State Street and they'll be on like Commercial Street. They'll start one side, go to the other side. Start one side, go to the other side. And again, we've done 11 block faces and there's 69 more block faces to go. So,
We're on phase 1, phase 2.
yeah, no, we're down on, well, this one was, what have we done today, that's why I did this one. So we are on phase 1. So have you guys heard anything going on that I should outreach to somebody about any of our programs? I spoke at the Spirit Van Ness meeting last week or the week before. So I got hit with a lot of what's going on, Sheree, what is going on? But at the same time, when they asked about Block 45, they were saying that there's all this synergy around hotels, that I guess Pullman is knocking it out of the park, and same with the Phoenix. I'm not in that group where I'd be hearing about that, because they thought we would be ripe for another hotel motel. Of course, they were looking at would North Block 45 work for that, and I said, I don't think so, because of parking and just in and out is kind of a challenging site, but who knows? So I was just wondering if you guys heard of anything. That was kind of new to me, and of course the whole grocery comes up. Anything happening?
I've heard of some land use stuff in the city's planning hopper, nothing in the core. I heard about stuff out off of Mission Street and then potentially something off of the Hawthorne on the land in there. But yeah, I've heard the same thing as well, that the hotels are just doing great. They've had an incredible season. And they weathered the shoulder of the off season, but yeah, I mean, if other hotels are looking into the city, which is all market study driven, and they're pulling land use applications, it definitely means that there's plenty of more capacity for building multi-million dollar hospitality properties.
I mean, I know, I was really happy to hear that the Anderson building sold, beyond ecstatic with that, it needs love so badly. And same with the Cook's building, because now we're just kind of sitting, I know Janet building was for sale, is it still for sale? Okay, you don't know, well, Janet Ogles is the one with, that had Gatsby, and I think Gatsby's went out of business. And Havana Hair upstairs,
Restaurant.
Waltz's, yeah, so I heard that one was for sale. I would love to know if anybody knows what's going on with, Al's Salem's Summit. Because there's no for lease, or, I heard it was for sale, but it was at a price that I couldn't really buy it,
It's
so.
not really for sale.
Well,
Everything's for sale.
everything's for sale at a certain price,
Yeah.
because that is a beautiful building that has a lot of potential.
Stunning.
What about you? It's close to you. See?
Not really for sale.
Okay, so there's anything swirling out there that I know about. Everybody saw the stuff on the Statesman's Journal building, that was in the paper.
Exciting.
So something happened. Okay. We're all cranking.
It's interesting you bring up hotel and I immediately went to hear commercial retail office housing, but not hospitality. Somebody might want to build a hotel there. But that's what the solicitation's for.
Again,
They're not
That-
limited to that. That's
no,
like-
I mean, that is,
At least that was how it was presented last time with the block 50.
no, it does not have to be, it's not limited. Again, and the comments back is spread it and have the net go as far as possible. Well, what's interesting about that spot for a hotel is that Marriott was scheduled to go there when they had the platform over the creek, because they saw this great opportunity for parking over at where South Block is. So that was like the big thing that everybody was talking about was gonna go on that site, because they had the parking and so on and so forth. So the whole hotel motel thing, and there for a while, every so many months, I would have somebody call me that was from that industry saying, kind of a site selector, you guys meet all these requirements for needing more lodging. Is there any sites that you know about? So I knew it was out there, but I was surprised, that was what they said in that meeting that I went to, that there was interest.
We've done more than one test of that site.
Exciting. Well, it sounds like we've got a jam-packed agenda for September. And for the first time, I think in my DAP career, we are well ahead of schedule. So with that, I'm gonna adjourn us.
Okay, thank you.
That's the gift.
Thank you.
today.
Well, it's an opening for preliminary. Yeah.